to the 11th and final session of the Elite Money series. And now, this series is a series that I started because I noticed that majority of the financial advice online is bad advice for entrepreneurs. And now that is why I started this series. And in this series, what I do is that I share the lessons that I've learned about money. So these are the lessons I've learned about money when I was in sales, when I was in marketing, when I was fundraising, and right now as an entrepreneur. So this is where I share all the lessons. And if this is your first time here, or if we have not met yet, I am Samuel Kim, the founder and CEO of NK Elite. Now, NK Elite is an agency which specializes in two things: marketing and fundraising. So that is copywriting, and marketing, and fundraising. So today's session is about the two sides of budget and my little take on budgeting. Now, for me, I have a love-hate relationship with money, and not money, but with budgeting. And now, this is because I've seen both sides of budgeting. And now, on one side, I've seen how budgeting can empower you, and on the other side, I've seen how budgeting can limit you. And now that is why I have this love-hate dynamic with money. So I will start with the head now. So why I have an issue with budgeting. And now the reason I have an issue with budgeting is that when budgeting is taken too far, when budgeting ends up being that you are budgeting every dollar, you are budgeting every shilling. What I've noticed happens is that we end up in a very weird dynamic now. And now in this weird dynamic now, find yourself in such a situation that you find that you are living a boring life than before you started budgeting. So it end up putting you in such a situation that you have cut off your expenses too much that all your focus is kind of being on just one thing, and that is reducing spending only. And now that is the issue that I have with budgeting. So when it's taken too far, when you're budgeting every dollar, every shilling, you end up in this situation whereby it kind of limits you. So budgeting, when I look it from this side, is that it end up putting a limit on you, limit in such a way that spending kind of occupies your mind completely, and now you cannot think about anything else. So you cannot think about increasing your earning. You only think about saving a dollar or a shilling here and there. So that's the issue I have with budgeting because it puts you in it puts you in this habit of penny pinching, and now you know anything about penny pinching. That is the worst way that you can live your life. So in terms of finances. On the other hand, and now this now is the side of love now. So why I love budgeting? The reason I love budgeting is that it empowers you. So budgeting empowers you. So how does budgeting empower you? Budgeting empowers you because now it brings into your awareness how you circulate your money. So it brings into your awareness how much and how you are spending your money, how much and how you are earning your money, how much you are saving, how much you are investing. So that is what I find about budgeting. Like for me, I find that to be very powerful. This one is especially if you have just been spending money, and now at the end of the day you have no idea where your money has gone. So like now for me, that was the situation I was in back in November 2021. Not November, yes, November 2021. So at that time, I was wondering where all the money that I had earned, like all the money that had gone through my hands, where it had gone from my time from selling cars. So, but from the budgeting now, you are able to see this is how I earn money, this is how I spend money, these are the assets that I've invested in, these are the liabilities that I have, this is the amount that I am saving. So, budgeting enables you to see how you are circulating your money. And now, from that, now is when now you can know whether you're circulating your money like a poor person, whether you're circulating your money like a middle class person, or whether you are circulating your money as a rich person. So budgeting brings into awareness that now. And the other thing about budgeting is that once it has brought this thing to your awareness, what happens is that you start noticing that you have bad habits and you have good habits. So what you start doing is that you start cutting your bad habits. So you start doing away with them. And on the other hand, you realize you had a good habit, you just continue with it. If you didn't have the good habit, you started from scratch. Now you build it up. So that is the power of budgeting, that it brings into awareness how you are circulating money. It brings into awareness your ability to circulate money. So that is the power of budgeting. So that is my love hate dynamic with money. So on one hand, it empowers you. On the other hand, if you take it too far, it kind of limits you. Now, so what's my little take on budgeting? So for me, budgeting, the way I look at it is that budgeting is a very powerful mechanic that you can use in order to increase your money circulation ability. And but there is one condition to it, that you don't take it too far. You don't budget every shilling. You don't budget every dollar. So that is a caveat now. So what do you do if you are not budgeting every shilling? If you are not budgeting every dollar? What you do is that instead of budgeting every shilling, you start budgeting in terms of percentages. So this one is what is the income percentage. So this is if you have different sources of income. So how each stream of income contributed to your overall income. The other hand, it is about your expenses. So this one is more about what percentage do you give to expenses. So how much are you spending on rent? So that is rent, that is food, that is clothes. So all these expenses that you have, if you have a car, you are paying for a house, you are buying a house. So all these expenses now, they come into that expenses percentage. On the other hand, you have saving percentage. So this is how much you save from every income that you get. And now the last one now is about investing now. What percentage are you allocating to investing? So this one is more about in terms of going to your budget and now looking at, oh, I spent this one on coffee, oh, I spent this one on lunch, oh, I spent this one here. So instead of looking at it that way, look at it in terms of percentage now. Now, in those percentages now, it is easier to manage those percentages than going about looking at how every shilling is being circulated. Now, the other part about budgeting, like the percentages, so I've already mentioned for, so in terms of earning, in terms of income, in terms of expenses, in terms of saving, in terms of investing. The other one is in terms of assets. So this one is a compilation of your assets, like which and which assets do you have and how much are they contributing to your income. On the other hand, in case you have liabilities, you have to take into account the percentages of liabilities and how now all of them now come together. So how investing, how income, investing, expenses, asset, liabilities, savings, how they all come together now. So that is what this percentage is all about. So you are able to, instead of being too focused on the details, that you end up missing the bigger picture. You when you use percentages now, it kind of pull back, and now you are able to zoom out, and now you are able to see the whole picture, like how the money is circulating, and now not just focusing on where the shilling is going or how the shilling is coming in. So that is how I look at it. The other thing is, in terms of budgeting now, when you budget, you should have clear goals of why you are budgeting. So not just budgeting for the sake of budgeting. It is budgeting so that you can achieve a specific financial goal that you have for yourself. So this one now you can look at it in terms of, for example, when you want to reduce your expenses, you can look at it like how much am I allocating to expenses and how can I reduce that. On the other hand, and now this is what I recommend, instead of focusing too much on cutting expenses, start focusing on your income, like how can I generate more income for myself? How can I generate more assets? How can I generate more income stream? Income stream. So you can also look at that in terms of liabilities. You can look at how to reduce your liabilities. If you have assets, you can look at how to add assets and which assets are most valuable to you. So that is all about budgeting, and that is my least take on budgeting. So what I would like to know is, what's your take on budgeting? So you feel like budgeting for you is a limitation, or do you feel that budgeting for you is an empowerment, is an opportunity to be powerful? The other thing is about this series. So I would like to know, what are the lessons that you will be taking away from this series, and which of them you will be implementing immediately? And that's a wrap for today and for this session and for this series. So I'm happy that you have joined me in this journey whereby I've been sharing the lessons that I've learned about money, and I hope you had given you something to think about in terms of how you think about money. And this one now, I hope it will be valuable for you as an entrepreneur, because most of the, as I've already mentioned, most of the financial advice out there is mostly focused on employees. So this one was mostly for the entrepreneurs, and how you can look at money, how you can think about money, and how you talk about money as an entrepreneur. And that's all for today. And I wish you a good time. In case I continue this series, I'll see you then. In case I don't, that's all. And bye bye. Kapadiam.